Ready to take a whirlwind tour through American history in just 10 minutes? Let's dive in. From ancient civilizations to the digital age, we're covering the moments that shaped the United States, long before any European ships reached its shores. This land was home to vibrant and diverse Native American civilizations. From the cliff dwellers of the Southwest to the complex societies of the Mississippi Valley, these cultures thrived for thousands of years, creating rich traditions, sophisticated trade networks, and a deep connection to the land. Then, the world changed in the early 1600s. European settlers began to arrive. We have the English establishing Jamestown in Virginia in 1607. Driven by economic ambition, a little later, the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth, seeking religious freedom. These small footholds grew into 13 distinct colonies, each with its own character, economy, and relationship with Great Britain, the ruling power across the Atlantic. Over time, tensions between the colonies and Britain grew. Colonists felt their rights were being ignored, especially with taxes imposed without their consent. The famous Boston Tea Party was a dramatic protest against this. Things finally boiled over in 1775 with the battles of Lexington and Concord, sparking the American Revolution the following year. On July 4, 1776, the Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence, a bold statement proclaiming that the 13 colonies were now free and independent states. The war was long and hard, but with crucial help from allies like France, the colonists, led by General George Washington, secured their victory. Winning the war was one thing, but building a nation was another. The first attempt at a government, the Articles of Confederation, proved too weak. So, in 1787, delegates met for the Constitutional Convention. After much debate, they drafted the U.S. Constitution, a brilliant framework for a federal republic that has endured for over 2 centuries, to protect individual liberties. The Bill of Rights was added soon after, with the new government in place. George Washington was unanimously elected as the first president. Setting the standard for American leadership, the young nation was ambitious. The idea of manifest destiny, the belief that the U.S. was destined to expand across the continent, took hold in 1803. President Thomas Jefferson doubled the size of the country overnight with the Louisiana Purchase. This kicked off a century of westward expansion, as pioneers in covered wagons moved west seeking land and opportunity. However, this expansion came at a terrible cost. It led to tragic conflicts with Native American tribes who were forcibly removed from their ancestral lands, and it also fueled tensions that led to the Mexican-American War in the 1840s, which added even more territory to the United States. As the country grew, a deep and bitter divide was tearing it apart. The issue of slavery. The industrial North and the agrarian South had fundamentally different economies and societies. Debates over states' rights versus federal power raged, but the core conflict was the moral and economic institution of slavery. In 1860, the election of Abraham Lincoln, who opposed the expansion of slavery, was the final straw. Southern states began to secede, forming the Confederacy, and in 1861, the Civil War began. It was the deadliest conflict in American history, with battles like Gettysburg leaving a devastating mark. In 1863, Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing enslaved people in the rebellious states and transforming the purpose of the war after. For brutal years, the Union won and slavery was abolished. The period that followed, known as Reconstruction, was a difficult attempt to rebuild the South and integrate newly freed African Americans into society. But it faced immense challenges and resistance. The late 19th century ushered in the Gilded Age, a period of explosive industrial growth. Railroads crisscrossed the country, factories sprang up in cities, and inventions like the telephone and electric light bulb changed daily life. Titans of industry like Carnegie and Rockefeller built massive fortunes. This boom drew millions of immigrants from Europe and Asia, all seeking a better life. They crowded into booming cities like New York and Chicago, creating a vibrant, multicultural society, but also facing tough working conditions and crowded slums. The 20th century threw the United States onto the world stage. America entered World War I in 1917, helping to tip the balance for the Allies. The Roaring Twenties that followed were a time of prosperity and cultural change. But it all came crashing down with the stock market crash of 1929, which triggered the Great Depression. Millions were left jobless and homeless. President Franklin D. Roosevelt responded with the New Deal, a series of ambitious government programs designed to provide relief, recovery, and reform. Just as the nation was getting back on its feet, it was pulled into World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941. America's industrial might became the arsenal of democracy, and millions of Americans served in Europe and the Pacific. The war ended in 1945, leaving the U.S. as a global superpower. The post-war era brought new challenges: the Cold War, a tense ideological struggle against the Soviet Union, dominated foreign policy for decades, leading to the space race and the incredible achievement of landing a man on the moon in 1969. At home, the civil rights movement, led by figures like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., fought courageously against racial segregation and injustice, leading to landmark legislation like the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The late 20th and early 21st centuries saw the dawn of the digital age, with personal computers and the internet revolutionizing communication and culture. The nation has faced modern tragedies like the September 11th attacks and has continued to grapple with economic shifts and social change. From a few colonies to a continental nation and a global leader, the history of the United States is a complex, ongoing story of struggle, innovation, and the enduring pursuit of its founding ideals. Thanks for watching this super fast trip through American history. If you enjoyed it, give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more content. See you next time.